Hey there. What we're going to look at right now is a demonstration sample of the 15 card trajectory spread. It allows us to explore the energies around taking two different paths. It also explores some things we can do to get the most out of a situation, and it allows us to look at some of the energies that are out of our control that it's helpful to be aware of. So let's jump right in. Now, this is a sample reading, so it's going to be a little under 15 minutes. That's the aim. A real reading on this topic might be closer to 20, 25, 30 minutes, depending. But my aim is to get this in under 15 minutes. So just keep that in mind. If this were a real reading, it might go twice as long, up to twice as long as what we're going to do now. So the person I'm reading for has been in his job for 10 years, likes it, but it's not what he imagined doing. And he's wondering if maybe he should explore a different path, explore the path that he thought he would start out on, or something closer to what he thought he would be doing. So let's jump right into that. And we're going to pull 3 cards to start. And the first card is going to represent his current state. The second card is going to represent the energies that are fading out of the situation. And the third card is going to represent what's fading in. So in the present state, we've got the Seven of Swords. In the energies that are fading out, we've got the Page of Chalices. And in the energies that are fading in, we've got the Ace of Wands. So we're going to come back to those in just a second. But now what we need to do is we need to draw 3 cards to explore what energies are around the option of staying. So what's the potentiality there? And in that case, we get the Lovers, the Three of Pentacles, and the Fool. Now we're going to take 3 cards and we're going to explore the energy around trying a different path. And in that case, we get Strength, we get the Six of Wands, and we get the Ten of Chalices, or the Two of Chalices reversed. All right, so now we have 3 more cards, 6 more cards, really. The 3 cards we're going to draw here are going to explore actions that can be taken to achieve the best possible results. And in that case, we get the Ace of Chalices reversed, the Knight of Wands reversed, and the Seven of Wands. And then finally, we're going to explore 3 cards that highlight energies, influences outside of our control that we should be aware of, and that may affect our decision. All right. And in that case, we got the Ace of Swords reversed, the Five of Chalices, and the Page of Wands. All right, so let's jump right in. In terms of his current energy, the Seven of Swords is an interesting card because it indicates a certain amount of I would say really unusual thoughts. I would say there's a desire there. There's an action going on where we're wondering if we have to start taking matters in our own hands and be slightly underhanded in the way we go about getting what we want. There may have been an energy around that in our lives that have prompted us to ask this question. Maybe something happened at work and somebody did something a little sneaky and it's been on our mind. Maybe we're just wondering if we need to start getting a little more creative in the way that we get what we want. So it's an interesting card to start off the reading in a central position because it's one of the trickiest cards in the deck. Sometimes it really indicates craftiness. Sometimes it really indicates wits. And sometimes it indicates underhandedness. In this case, I'm going to assume the best and say that this person is in a point right now where they're exceptionally crafty. They're very good at doing what they do and doing it in kind of a covert way. Who knows? Maybe they're an operative or something like that. Politics or journalism or something. There's definitely a sense of creative communication here too. So it could be a writer. The energy that's flowing out is the Page of Chalices, which is interesting because it indicates that there was a certain sense of hopefulness and a certain sense of romance, sort of starry-eyed, bright-eyed, youthful, innocence that's starting to harden into the Seven of Swords. But the Ace of Wands is coming in, and that indicates a real fertile opportunity to make stuff. And so in there's a lot of possibility, certainly around vocation, certainly around our life's work, the things that really matter to us, the things that really get us excited and get our blood flowing. So that's a nice energy that's coming in. It's certainly a good time to start thinking about taking a different path, or to start thinking about the path that we're on. So let's jump up here to the cards that represent the energy around staying in our position. We get two major arcana cards here, which is really interesting, and they're really interesting cards because they're not necessarily cards that we would associate with work. I'm going to come back to those in a second because they are so large. What we do get, though, right in the middle is the Three of Pentacles, which is a nice card. I mean, honestly, it's about becoming part of a larger whole, be part of making something really, really big and really magical. It's being a good collaborator. It's being a good coworker. It's being part of an environment that's really creatively powerful, and working together to make something really big. So I think that that's interesting. It also seems to allow for some potentiality in life. It definitely has us thinking about what we really want and what's really sexy and what's really practical. You know, the Lover's card to me is always a little bit about the allure of like the sexy choice and the fear of getting stuck with the safe choice. But within there is still the opportunity to kind of to take some chances and get kind of adventurous. So there's a lot of possibility in staying here and staying where we are. Even with the Lover's card, which makes us want to think about taking a different route and maybe kind of getting seduced into something new. The Lover's card also just represents love. You know what I mean? It also just represents being really connected to something, and having found a completing a sense of completion with another person or another group. So, and it's a dance in this particular case. And then the Fool is always an interesting card for me because it's about really just sort of giving in and going for the ride. So there's a lot of potential to maybe do something new here. Now, in terms of taking another path, we get another interesting spread. We have Strength, we have the Six of Wands, and we have the Two of Chalices reversed. So what this suggests is that certainly going another path is going to take a certain amount of discipline. Achieving the goals that we may be looking for in that other direction is going to require a certain amount of skill. We have that skill, but we're going to have to really, really learn how to handle the transition gently and to care for the somewhat wild environment that taking a detour expects of us. But it does indicate that there is the possibility for success, you know, and for a real sense of fulfillment, a real sense of like the parade, you know what I mean, and going and kind of getting that vocational success, that creative success, that recognition that we crave for. But it may also involve leaving behind connections to people we're really close to and friends that we've developed. It's an interesting contrast here between the Lovers and the Two of Chalices. Makes me wonder if maybe there's some romantic element at work in the current job that would have to really be disconnected in order to go down a new path. So it could be a friendship too, but the appearance of Cups and the Lovers makes me wonder if it's a romantic thing. Now we get into what we could do to get the best possible results. The Ace of Chalices here, really interesting, tying up to the Two of Chalices, may need that I need to take emotions out of the equation. I need to take feelings out of the equation. And I need to be a little bit more practical, be a little bit more thoughtful, a little more practical, and a little less emotional. It also may indicate taking a big risk. The Knight of Wands reversed is interesting here because you don't usually see the Knight of Wands reversed or a reversed knight in an advice position. It may mean going slowly into this fire energy, really not doing the knight thing of like racing head on. Conversely, it also may indicate kind of like lighting all the torches at once and going crazy. So there's a lot of wands energy in this reading, so it's interesting. This one is something I feel like I would need to spend more time with. I'm just going to play the safe road and say go slow and be really a bit more thoughtful, but still have the fire and passion. The Seven of Wands also means, it's going to take some energy to stay on top. So you're going to have to really be on the lookout for others who want the same thing you do, and getting the upper hand is going to involve kind of balancing a lot, staying on top, being really aware, being really energetic, and really focused on that. You're going to have to consider there's going to be competition. You are capable of getting the upper hand, but it's going to take all of that skill, all of that passion, all of that enthusiasm, and all of that talent, and all of the energy to stay on top. Finally, we get into the three cards that represent forces outside of our control. So the Ace of Swords reversed, the Five of Chalices, and the Page of Wands. Let's start with the Five of Chalices here, because I think there's an interesting connection to the Lovers and the Two of Chalices. I think that, again, there's... If moving on is something we're interested in, and even if it's not, there's someone who feels something, and I'm saying someone because this is energy out of our control that feels like they're losing us. And there's a bit of grief about that. There's also a certain slowness to the path that we're taking, so it's not going to happen overnight. It also may say that our intellectual ability may not quite yet be up to the task. We may need to explore some education. There may be people who are a bit more trained in this area that we're going to have to think about. And then the Page of Wands may indicate that there may be younger people out there who have the same kind of passion and enthusiasm we do, and youth can be attractive, so we're going to have to consider that, particularly here in the Seven of Wands. So a lot of Wands energy. This does seem to be a reading about vocation. I don't think there's really a wrong path to take. There is an interesting intrusion of Cups energy in this reading. So we've got this, we've got this, we've got this, we've got this. Someone is going to be hurt. And it's indicating to me that there may be a friendship or relationship that's suffering as a result of the desire to move on. And that may be something, it's neither good nor bad, and it doesn't seem like a devastating loss, but it does feel like a loss. Our actions do have consequences outside of our own wants, and I think that that's really an interesting thing. Again, I didn't even think about tying it back to the Page of Cups. So, I mean, looking at, it seems like there was a relationship here in this job. Maybe it's to the job itself too. That's something else that's interesting. We were very seductive in our early days. We've really kind of won people over there. If we leave, there may be a great sense of loss for the people we're leaving behind. That Lover's card, though, really makes me feel like there's some kind of relationship being affected by even the desire to move on. Staying there seems to sustain that a little bit more than leaving. So that may be a factor worth considering. But in terms of career standpoint, the moving on may be a little more work, but it doesn't necessarily look like a worse option in terms of career. In terms of relationships, something's getting left behind, and there's definitely a sense of losing there. And again, the force is out of our control. We may not be fully trained. We may have to accept that. There also may be younger people we're going to have to compete against, which means we have to work harder to stay on top. Which may mean being a bit creative here, coming back to the Knight of Wands. It may mean we might need to be a little more reckless and a little more headstrong because of this. We may need to compensate for our lack of knowledge in this case with, kind of a balls to the wall approach. Again, we have to consider the context and what we're looking for. Is that appropriate? Only you're going to know based on the full situation. Really interesting reading, though. So I hope this is interesting. I hope it whets your appetite for more. Let me know if you want one.